the punching bags of low-level D&D campaigns. Chances are you've fought a bunch of CR1 goblin minions, but when played right, they don't have to be boring cannon fodder. In this video, we'll delve into the history of goblins in most media and TTRPGs, we'll share and provide new roleplay ideas, and a few tactical twists and stat blocks to make goblins fun, engaging, and maybe even terrifying again. All that and more in this episode of Lore from the Elven Tower. In most TTRPGs, goblins are the scrappy underdog of the monster world. Small, green, kinda smelly, and usually working for someone considerably larger than them. Goblins build their lairs or hamlets in caves, swamps, or dark woods. They raid caravans, pillage the innocent, and spend their downtime betting on scorpions as they fight to the death. Goblins in media go way back. The word appears in Tolkien's The Hobbit and also sparingly in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but the word there is a synonym for the word orc. In that universe, they are one and the same.
Orcs!
In Magic the Gathering, they appeared in the first alpha set back in 1993 in 3 cards. And in Dungeons & Dragons they are featured in the very first monster manual in 1977. They've appeared in almost every edition of the game and even have whole adventures written around them. In the B2 module, Keep on the Borderlands, there is a rumor table that states that Booyagh in the Goblin language means we surrender. It is never clarified whether the rumor is true or not, but it is implied to be false. Decades later, the rumor makes a new appearance in the D&D 5e Monster Manual. In The Lost Mine of Phandelver, one of D&D's first introductory adventures, goblins are literally in the first combat encounter. It is a teaching sandbox for new players to see what the D&D combat feels like.
Wait, doesn't that encounter have a terrible reputation for being unbalanced and too deadly?
I didn't invite you to my video, Skippy, but yeah, it's infamous, but by design. These goblins only loot the characters but leave them alive to fight another day. More in-depth information is later given in Volo's Guide to Monsters, where the author claims those heathens have no appreciation for the finer things. But what about Pathfinder 2e? Goblins are so popular that they became a base playable ancestry. Talk about a glow-up. So yes, goblins are iconic, but sometimes because they're so common, they become a predictable crutch. But here, we want to avoid that. This is why our favorite version is the one portrayed in Symbaroum RPG, where the goblin race coexists with humans but bears the weight of a terrible systemic oppression, which makes sense in that game because of its dark ambience and the historical background for the entire setting.
That certainly doesn't sound fun at all.
Well, the alternative could be a more action-oriented, a cinematic feel to goblins, resourcefulness and chaotic demeanor. Kinda like what you see in the Hobbit movie.
Action, fast movement, explosions, that is what I prefer.
Stick around because later I will show you some updated combat tactics and stat blocks for 5e that will have your players sweating bullets. Alright, so how do we breathe new life into goblins? The answer, in my opinion, is not in giving them more hit points or more abilities, but in roleplay and culture.
And surprise!
Instead of the usual portrayal of goblins as chaotic idiots,
Can you say hello?
your goblins could be genius scavengers. They can build armor out of pots and pans. They can build siege weapons out of stolen farming and mining equipment. And suddenly your players are not laughing anymore. They're dodging a spiked helmet suicidal goblin that shot himself out of an improvised cannon.
That's crazy.
The fires of industry, the forests will fall.
Booyagh means magic in the goblin tongue. Should ye happen upon goblins chanting Booyagh, 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 be warned, there might be a powerful sorcerer lurking in their midst.
Taking a hint from Pathfinder 2e and Symbaroum RPG, instead of making goblins nameless goons, you should try to integrate them into your fantasy world as sentient beings. The base stat block for D&D 5e shows them as neutral evil, but the 2024 edition changed that to chaotic neutral. That's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it's great to integrate them in many ways into medieval societies. Goblins outside the influence of outlaw warbands would integrate easily into low-income environments as tinkerers, farmers, laborers, messengers, or even spies.
Hi there. I'm the new accountant.
Just like humans, they can encompass a wide spectrum of personalities. But I recommend always keeping a spark of resourcefulness, high-risk behaviors, and an affinity to build stuff, to tinker, especially anything with fire and/or moving parts. Then, for those goblins who still partake in criminal activities, they may not be evil by nature. Maybe the goblins raid the caravans because they are starving. Perhaps their shaman had a premonition of doom and they only seek to find a way forward. Or what about beings of greater influence like hobgoblins, a giant, or even a dragon? They could have threatened the goblins into doing things they normally would not do in that particular community. The key element here is that providing your players with the option to talk their way out of a goblin encounter can change the vibe completely. Okay, yes, we get it, this is D&D, and in some cases there is no other option other than combat. Let's see how we can rework the goblinoid combat strategies. This content is sponsored by you. Elven Tower Adventures is more than maps, stories, and quests. We're a fellowship. Your voice matters and we want to create the best content for you. The best way to support our work is by subscribing to our Patreon page. Who knows? Perhaps our Dungeon Vault magazine could become your every game's companion, or maybe our hundreds of maps and adventures are just what your imagination needs to take your games to the next level. Don't just play D&D, conquer it. The two base goblins in D&D 5e 2024 have 7 and 10 hit points, respectively. We also like how they are portrayed in some of the new school, old school OSR systems. This is how they are portrayed in Shadow Dark RPG, Old School Essentials, and Dungeon Crawl Classics. In all these examples, goblins are the type of introductory monsters that you throw at level 1 parties, or in a gauntlet or funnel, which would be the level 0 equivalent in games like Shadow Dark RPG or Dungeon Crawl Classics. The idea is that you sneeze on a goblin and it dies. Tough and resilient have never been the words with which you describe a goblin, but the fun is not in their durability, but in how creatively they can fight. We love the approach used in D&D 4th edition that gave monsters different roles to fulfill in battles. We also recommend that you use the rules for morale in your low-level battles. Goblins are likely to be cowardly, they would not fight to the death. What appear to be insurmountable odds can quickly turn to the character's favor when half the goblins become demoralized and flee. So we present here 4 goblin variants that take inspiration on this. You'll find a free PDF with the stat blocks in the video description. The Goblin Serf is the base grunt for the goblin encounters. They come in great numbers and can easily overcome the strongest looking combatant. They can throw makeshift Molotov bombs, which reflects their propensity for exploding devices.
Blast them! Kill them all!
But their signature ability is to gang up on a strong armored opponent and immobilize him.
Yes, yes! Show them the real power of goblins!
The more goblins participate in this, the harder it is for their target to act. This ability deals no damage but can ease the combat for the other goblins as the strongest opponent is tied up momentarily.
We will drive the machine of war with the sword and the spear and the iron fist of the orc.
The Rocketeer Goblin embraces the chaotic, tinkering nature of goblin kind. The Rocketeer uses a makeshift cannon to shoot himself at their enemies. They wear white thick soles to protect their feet and a spear-headed helmet to hurt their enemies. Alas, this maneuver is so risky that many have been known to hurt themselves or worse while attempting this.
They could shoot themselves and end up unconscious, or worse.
Former assistants of hobgoblin wizards, or those who manage to make a magical trinket work against all odds, are called Booyah. These ineffective spellcasters are respected and feared among their kind, as they dabble with forces not even they can comprehend. Their magic is so unreliable that the risk of them losing control of it and causing unexpected consequences is real.
Why not? I've got the power now.
We have included a random miscast table for the Booyagh Artillerist, link in the description. Safer but a lot rarer are the Booyahg Healers. Their more subtle connection to magic runs counterintuitive to goblin kind, so they are often outcasts. But they could make for great allies and companions for the adventurers.
Booyah, goblins! You get a booyah! You get a booyah! Everybody gets a booyah!
These goblin variants are meant to be fun and chaotic, especially for veteran players who have seen it all. This can be a breath of fresh air into the overused goblin dynamic of weak, punchable hit point bags. Okay, so let's recap. Goblins don't have to be boring. With a little roleplay flair, some new motivations, and a dash of tactical creativity, you can make goblin encounters the highlight of your campaign instead of the almost skippable tutorial level. So next time your players delve into a goblin cave, don't just throw the dice, throw personality, throw strategy, and throw a Rocketeer goblin as well, like why shouldn't you? If you found this helpful or entertaining, give it a thumbs up so the YouTube goblins know that you like this video. Drop a comment with your favorite goblin story, I know you have one. And of course, subscribe to our channel for more content like this one. Until the next one, may your goblins be crafty, chaotic, and just the right amount of annoying. See you in the next episode of Lore from the Elven Tower.